time. Is that a goal you believe can be realistically achieved through a move like this?
Well, there's no doubt that we can win the war against Iran while having economic growth. We can afford to fight this war. We can achieve growth. That's possible. I take issue with the president's remarks on interest rates policies per se. He has things backwards. Interest rates aren't rising because the economy is so good. Interest rates are actually rising because the government is spending far beyond its means. A lot of focus is on the Federal Reserve and whether or not they should lower interest rates or can lower interest rates or whether they should hike. But we need to keep the bigger picture here. Interest rates are far more than just Federal Reserve policy. Remember, the biggest borrower in the world is the United States government. When our government borrows more, our own government is competing with businesses and families for a limited supply of capital. And so interest rates reflect that accordingly. We are basically bidding against the government for credit. And when you have the government spending $2 trillion per year beyond its means, we have a $40 trillion national debt now. Interest rates rise as a result because we're competing with our government. And it would be quite dangerous for the Federal Reserve to intervene in order to lower those interest rates.
Well, I certainly want to dive in on the interest rate debacle. Before we get there, though, just to refocus on this new plan for Iran. The president's been putting the economic squeeze on the country, as you know, but he's now tightening his grip. As Alicia pointed out, the UAE says they're in, but this is a double-edged sword. What do you see as the greatest risk here, too?
Well, the biggest risk is that Iran will be able to renew its nuclear weapons development program. And the second biggest risk would be that Iran would be permitted to continue its ballistic missiles program. So whether we disarm the regime via an economic strangulation or whether we disarm the regime by renewing our military campaign, this is a requirement. Now, I'm concerned that President Trump has been waffling over the last 4 months or so with these failed ceasefires. During those so-called ceasefires, the Iranian regime has reportedly regrouped and replaced some of their military equipment and some of their radar equipment. It's unfortunate that this administration has pressured Israel to stand down. What we should be doing is finishing the job militarily. But in the absence of that, this economic strangulation is quite required. What would have been disastrous was what the memorandum of understanding would have permitted, and that would have infused the Iranian regime with $3 to $5 billion per month of additional oil revenue. And keep in mind, the Iranian regime spends only about $60 billion per year on their military, so we would have been, in effect, funding an entire year's worth of military operations by that regime. And that is unacceptable.
Right. The president working to undercut that with his new strategy. I hear your concerns about spending, understood, and I wanted to pivot to the Fed apparently mulling an interest rate hike and what this means for the American consumer, because you do have many economists predicting it will remain the same. The trade-off, of course, is the same medicine that fights inflation can also slow the economy, hurt housing, businesses, and employment. So if we do see a hike, where do you anticipate the greatest impacts to the American consumer and why?
I want to keep in mind that the Fed does not have absolute control over interest rates. They have their interest rates objectives. What I'm concerned with right now is that, like I said before, we are competing with our own government for a limited supply of dollars. That results in the price of money going up. Interest rates are rising. And of course, it is a real concern for American families, especially if you're looking to buy a home with mortgage rates near 7%. It's never been less affordable to buy a home than it is now due to those interest rates. But the culprit here is not the Federal Reserve per se. The culprit is that our federal government is borrowing $2 trillion a year. Now, the risk here would be that the Fed would succumb to political pressure and try to force interest rates down. And here's how the Fed would force interest rates down. They would print more money to buy government debt to lower the interest rates on government debt, which means that we would all pay lower interest rates on the loans that we would be taking out. That is very dangerous. Let's look back to what happened in 2020 to 2022. The Federal Reserve printed $4 trillion to buy government bonds so that Democrats and Republicans could spend far beyond our means. And we all, for a while, enjoyed near record low interest rates as a result. You could have gotten a mortgage for under 3%. However, we're paying for those consequences now because those $4 trillion printed to artificially lower rates have now trickled through the economy. They've multiplied, and we have seen total inflation of over 30% during the last 5.5 years or so. So it would be very dangerous for the Fed to try to artificially suppress rates. The right direction is to allow these rates to rise, and that will at least help subdue inflation.
Right. And all at the same time, the president has outlined this risk. He campaigned on this, saying we need to wrangle U.S. debt and worked on some of these trade and tariff deals to get a plan in place to shore up our finances. So it's interesting that that's at the forefront today. Joel Griffith, we appreciate you weighing in. Thank you.
Thank you.
And President Trump